Today on Two Kids Cooking, we're going to be doing some mad kitchen science experiments with yeast. Then we'll take what we learned and make a yeasty mini pancake called Blini, plus a tasty super thin pancake called a crepe. We'll also learn all about flipping in our kids' kitchen technique. And of course, we don't want to forget our food fancification. So, let's get started with some mad kitchen science.
It's time for Mad Kitchen Science.
Today on the show, we're going to be making something called Blini.
Blini are like mini pancakes that you make with yeast. That's why our Mad Kitchen Science experiment for this week involves yeast.
Let's get to it.
What is yeast? Well, yeast are single-celled fungi, distantly related to mushrooms, like my yeasty here. Hi, I'm a yeasty. So, in order to grow, like most things, yeasties here need to get food. So, they get the food from their surroundings.
Their favorite is sugar.
Yep. Once the yeasties eat the sugar, they produce a lot of gas called carbon dioxide.
Excuse me. And all that gas causes whatever the yeasty is eating to poof up.
That is exactly right. Like when you make bread, the little yeasties in the bread, well, they're real yeast in the bread, but we're just going to use the yeasties. All the yeasties in the bread eat the sugar and whatever they can find in the dough. Therefore, they make the gas carbon dioxide, which gets trapped in the dough as bubbles. When you bake the bread, the bubbles get trapped in the dough. Like this.
This experiment we will be doing today, we'll be doing it from the book Science Experiments You Can Eat. And here's what you need. A thermometer, a packet of yeast, of course, sugar, corn syrup, cornstarch, some measuring items here, a cake pan, and make sure it doesn't have a hole in it so when you add the water on the bottom, it doesn't leak. And then holders here, 3 of them, and you can label them for the things that we need with a whiteboard marker so it doesn't stay on there forever. And that's all you need.
The first thing we do is dissolve 1 dry yeast packet into a half cup of 110 degree water. You can warm your water in the microwave and then take its temperature, but if your faucet water is left to run on hot, it might be warm enough, like ours is.
Next, we evenly divide the yeast mixture into our 3 beakers, which are labeled sugar, corn syrup, and cornstarch. Then we add 1 tablespoon of corn syrup into the one labeled corn syrup.
1 tablespoon of cornstarch into the cornstarch one.
And then plain white sugar in the sugar one.
Then we place the containers into our cake pan and fill it with more 110 degree water. Make sure the level of the water is high enough to be deeper than your yeast mixture in the containers.
Then we take some initial observations. Here are some things you can think about while observing.
Which of the items we added starts producing bubbles right away? What are the size of the bubbles in the foam? Are there any differences in smell of the 3 substances?
Once you've written your observations in your notebook, set the kitchen timer for 15 to 20 minutes, then observe again.
Write down your observations to the same questions. You can then wait another 15 to 20 minutes and take a final set of observations. You might have noticed a few things when observing the various substances the yeast uses as food. 1. The sugar started bubbling and forming the fastest and produced a lot of foam, but stopped bubbling the soonest. 2. The cornstarch barely bubbled at all, but slowly started producing some bubbles and foam at the end of the observation time. And 3. The corn syrup produced a steadier rate of bubbling. The bubbles weren't as big as the sugar bubbles, but there were as many of them throughout the observation time.
So what does this have to do with cooking, and what does it have to do with making blini and crepes?
It has to do with blini, because when we're going to make the blini, say, or anything really that when you want to be poofy, you're going to need to use yeast. Because yeast makes the gas that makes the bubbles. And depending on the different ingredients you use, you get different kinds of bubbles and texture. Like in this bread. The texture is more smooth, and the bubbles are more condensed. But in English muffin, the texture is rough and the bubbles are bigger. That is why you need yeast.
Before we get started making our blini, And don't forget those crepes. Let's talk about some flipping techniques.
When you're cooking, it's inevitable that you're going to have to flip something sooner or later. I mean, it's flipping. Come on.
Things like hamburgers, eggs, and pancakes.
Well, there's a lot of ways to do it, and we're going to be showing you some techniques today.
The best tool for flipping is a spatula. There are lots of different kinds of spatulas.
Like this Sophie said, there's lots of different kinds. You have ones like this one that are long and kind of fat. They're used for flipping like bigger kinds of things. And you have that ones like that. They're short and kind of
Small?
yeah, small. Then you have ones like that. They're longer, tend to be a bit flexible, and they're like medium sized. There's tons of different sizes. You should pick the size of your spatula depending on what kind of flipping job you're going to do.
Because we're going to be making a grilled cheese sandwich, we'll be using a spatula like this. It's skinnier and not as flexible.
If we were going to be making pancakes or an omelet, we'd probably use something wider and possibly shorter. It doesn't really matter with that, but wider, like that.
It's true, but before we do any flipping, we gotta get this grilled cheese on.
Let's go.
We're preparing our grilled cheese on our griddle today. First we heated up the griddle, and then we place the sandwich on it as you saw Soph. And as soon as it's ready for flipping, we'll show you what to do.
All different kinds of foods have different ways of telling them when they're ready to flip.
For example, pancakes, they start to bubble when they're ready to flip. And when you're baking an egg, then the egg turns opaque when it's ready to flip.
With grilled cheese, it's when they get brown on the bottom, and you can peek to see it like this. Peek.
Well, looks like the grilled cheese is ready to flip, so let's get on it.
Sophie?
Let's flip.
Mine needs a few more minutes. Seconds.
Do you see how Sophie does it? She quickly gets the thing underneath there, and then she flips it over. Alex needs a few more minutes, so he's going to wait. Now Alex is going to show another way. If the sandwiches or the food isn't hot on top, you can hold it a little bit with your hand and then flip it over. Sometimes the sandwiches get a little bit of a mess, right guys?
Mm-hmm.
I accidentally let it go. Hey, you can eat the
Good.
grass.
I like melty cheese. The key is practice.
Well, let's go put some Blini and crepes. That'll give us lots of practice, eh, Soph?
Yes.
Today, our first recipe is going to be lemon blinis. So blinis, you might be wondering, what are they? Well, they're kind of like pancakes, except they have yeast in them, and it's kind of a different flavor.
And smaller.
Yeah, mini pancakes with yeast. That's how he puts it. So, in our blinis, we have
salt, 1 egg, a stick of butter. Very fattening.
We don't use the whole stick.
Yeah, but we don't use it. But still fattening. Okay, flour.
Then we also have a lemon, active yeast. This
Dry.
yeast isn't fat. Then we have our milk, and
That's it?
let's get started now.
Now.
Now, well, it's time to get started on our blini. So we're gonna mix the ingredients together in this large bowl. Let's get started. So Sophie,
I'll be
we're
doing dry ingredients.
So like Sophie said, we're gonna need 1 2/3 cups flour. So Sophie, you can get started on that.
Yes, and I will also be sifting that with 1 teaspoon of salt.
1 teaspoon of salt.
While she does that, then I will be zesting a lemon, ninja style.
You opened your zest a bit too far.
Mom, Sophie, I didn't open my zest. I opened my zest.
Very nice, Alex.
Let's get zested now.
We're doing that in grammar, you know. Ers, est, ease, stuff like that.
Cool. And you're doing fractions in school, aren't you? So this is perfect for that, huh?
Yes.
Cooking. It's not just tasty, it's educational.
It's not fish. Okay. Oh yeah, teaspoons.
Why don't you can set the sifter into the bowl, sweetie. And then measure yourself and dump that
I
on
almost
top.
put it in my mouth for some reason.
Yeah.
Do not do that, kids. No, bad.
Sophie, you're kids.
Oh yeah.
Or kids, non-plural. Garmon.
Hey, we did plural stuff too before.
Oh, and just for the record, undead is an oxymoron.
I don't know what's up with him and oxymorons, but
He just doesn't like undead things.
Mom keeps on saying like undead, and I keep on telling her it's an oxymoron, but
he had to like explain all this
Alex,
stuff that I don't care about.
how much zest do we need,
Oxymoron
Alex?
is.
I'm not sure. But the magical board right there says 1 teaspoon, so I think I should be good.
That magical
Well,
board,
There's 1 teaspoon.
it does
measure.
not exist to you.
It actually does. Just
The 1
Well,
teaspoon.
it does, you know, but you can't see it.
The 1 teaspoon measure is right there, Alex. Why don't you check it out and see
Here.
how much you have?
1 teaspoon. Wait, 1 teaspoon. Get my tables and teas
It's a
confused.
Perry the Platypus. You got it stuck in my head.
So if you could probably add the rest of the flour. You need a little more flour.
That's
Yeah.
there.
Don't add that in yet. Just keep it, set it aside. It's for the end.
Sit aside, young pet one.
So when Sophie's done adding the dry ingredients, Alex, what else do we need to add into there?
See, once
It's like
we
a
have that,
dessert.
I'm gonna get started with 2 cups of milk.
There's the and that has to be warm, so you can jam that into the microwave and heat her up.
For 30 seconds,
So
the
pour
chocolate
milk
jar.
in.
Yeah, 30 seconds should probably be good. You
Yeah,
don't want it to be too hot.
Let's see.
Perry the Platypus. With some salt. You know, you just gotta put some salt on that beak. You know, darling.
Sophie, quit talking about platypi. Hey, it's
You're
the
an
correct...
oxymoron.
Sophie, that's the correct
I
plural.
don't care, you're an oxymoron for me.
This episode of 2 Kids
Shut up.
featuring grammar.
No, and math.
This is really our yeast episode. Why don't you go heat up the milk? And the reason we're heating up the milk is because we're going to add yeast.
Like
And
a
what does the
forest.
warmth help the yeast do, Alex?
It's so fluffy.
The yeast, when it eats the stuff, it produces a gas called carbon dioxide, and then that makes it all poofy and, you know, like bread with all the holes. That's just the gas.
And yeast like warm things. So when Sophie's done sifting that, she is going to add the yeast. You don't use a whole package of dry yeast. You just use 1.5 teaspoons.
Now, I'll be gone for like 2 seconds.
Hey, let's talk about Sophie while she's gone.
Shut up. I know, I have scissors. Scissors. Do not get near me.
Safely.
Yay!
Okay, so Soph's adding 1.5 teaspoons of dry yeast. And she's actually
One.
using a half teaspoon measure, so she's putting in 3, which equals 1.5.
2. And you know why? Because like that one is full of
Lemon
zest,
zest,
so it's
yeah.
not like
We actually have more, but it's just easier this way.
Yeah.
More measuring spoons. Okay,
3.
so why don't we...
There's an old woman on the back of this thing. Hi.
We're gonna stir in the milk now.
And Alex, you heated it on the microwave for about...
30 seconds, then another 30 seconds.
Okay.
That equals 1 minute, kids. Ooh.
So now it's warm.
No, I'm not. Cuckoo.
Alright, Sophie's stirring it in. Are you stirring, Soph?
And now I'm stirring.
We poured the milk in, so now we're gonna mix all this stuff together, and then we're gonna let it sit aside. When we let it set aside, then we're gonna let the yeast do its eating and gas emitting work until it doubles in size. So,
Right. And while that's happening, we'll probably get our crepe batter together. Right, guys?
Yeah.
yeah. So, how about the zest?
That goes in after it's doubled in size at the end, Alex. But thank you for zesting it early. So does the egg. At the very
It's
end,
all
the egg,
chunky.
the zest and the butter go in.
I must sheathe my zester. Alright, so next up, we are gonna make crepes. Now, crepes are kinda like Blini, except for a couple major differences. First, they don't have yeast, so they're obviously not as puffy. And second, they're really big and flat, skinny,
Thin, yeah.
small, thin. Now, like I said, they don't have yeast, but they do require a lot of flipping, so let's get started.
Now,
So,
it includes 2 eggs, butter, fat, and a teaspoon salt, and
Flour, milk, cup.
And that's it, so let's get started. These are pretty easy. You just mix everything up and the batter's ready to go.
Start
Yes.
mixing, shall I?
So Alex, how much milk are you going to put in flour?
I'm gonna put,
okay, where's the mixing bowl?
I'm gonna put a cup of milk and a cup of flour.
Yep, that's the mixing bowl we're using.
Let's get started with the flour.
And so if your butter needs to be melted, so why don't you zap that in the microwave for 30 seconds.
30.
It might not need that long, so kind of keep an eye on it, okay?
Alright, I have my cup of flour. Alright, now let's get the milk out.
Alex is so stealth with that milk.
Huh?
You could use the liquid measure too if you prefer.
Too late now.
Yeah, it's
Here we go. And here
the butter is melted.
is a cup of milk.
1 cup milk.
Thing of butter.
Alright, Soph, now you can... Alex, there should be a whisk over there. Why don't you start whisking while Sophie pours in the butter, her eggs, and her salt.
Warm butter mixing with the cold milk.
So if you can put your egg shells into that little butter bowl. Is the milk getting all, or the butter getting all?
Soaked.
Alright, now add your 2 eggs, babe.
Let me mix it. This is a bit before you add the eggs.
The batter should be fairly thin. Right now it might be a little thicker because you haven't added the eggs, but that's fine. You can pour it in there and then pour it in. You set your eggshells there. Sophie's egg cracking. Now pour those eggs in.
Boop.
And now stir that up until it's a nice smooth consistency.
Sometimes you just have to smash the eggs.
We're gonna finish stirring this up, and then we're gonna show you how to make the crepes and the blini.
So now that the blini dough has risen, we are going to add the rest of the ingredients, including the zest. And then we'll cook it up.
Okay, now you can just start adding stuff. Stir it in. Add the egg.
Egg.
So light and fluffy.
For now.
We've heated the pan, and then we've put the dough into these squeeze bottles. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier. So, let's make them. We'll show you how.
So basically what you do is you just take and you squeeze like a little bit. We don't want them to be too big, so just a little bit. Yep, just like that. They're like little mini pancakes. You can make a bunch of them. And then we'll let them cook until they're ready to flip, and we'll show you.
Oh, mine's starting to get bubbly.
This one's bubbly. Alright, so we are going to finish these up.
And then we've got some
Get some
crepes
of
to
my
make,
shift.
right, Alex and Soph?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna make the crepes. So we have a batter. We have our batter here, and then here we have just a frying pan. We have it on medium-high heat, and let's get started.
So, okay, so let's see.
First thing I'm gonna do
Butter
is
the
butter
pan.
down the pan here.
Now, I need Alex. Could you grab that? Okay, just scoop that one of those scoops onto there so I can
And
start.
how much is this?
It's a quarter cup.
Alright, now Sophie's gonna be ready. There's a little pan technique that we use. So I'm gonna pour this on, then Sophie's gonna
I'm gonna call it the swirly
go.
or the circly.
You just try to swirl it around
Here, let's see it, so show us your swirling.
the crepe batter.
Just try to make go in a circle, because you know crepes are in circles. Not my best, but it gets better.
We just do this so
Don't
that the
do
crepe
that.
batter gets evenly spread out and so it gets thinner.
Then when it's ready, what do you do?
You flip it. Dun-dun.
Is it time, Alex?
Bit longer, not much though.
Okay.
And Sophie, I've seen that.
No, you didn't. You did not.
Then you just do a quick flip when it's lightly browned.
There you go.
And then we're gonna finish these up, and then we're gonna fancification. It's time for food fancification.
Now that we're done with our blinis and crepes here, let's get started with
Food fancification. Now we have got all of our stuff ready, and we're going to make our food fancification.
so.
They're starting with the blini, right, guys?
Yep.
So for mine, we have some cut up strawberries with sugar on them, and then we let them soak in. But you take one of the strawberries. So we're gonna put a few strawberries, or just one. And since if you make the blinis small, then probably want to cut them up more. So okay, so
While Sophie's doing that,
then you put whipped cream on. Okay.
Alex, while she does,
while Sophie finishes with creaming those up,
why don't you show us yours?
mine have blackberries and lemon curd on them.
Which we made earlier.
Yes.
I'm not in.
Sophie's not eating hers.
So first we're going to put a little, you don't have to, but I'm going to put a little thin layer of lemon curd down. Then put the blackberry on, just to make it stick better.
And you can use other berries too. Well, here's how we made the lemon curd. First, we prepped our ingredients, zesting our lemon, separating our egg yolk, and squeezing our lemon juice. Then we headed on over to the counter, pouring in our sugar, mixing in our egg yolks, and whisking that together. Then we poured in our lemon juice, added our lemon zest, then brought it over the stove until it thickened. Then added 1 tablespoon of butter at a time. Finally, we prep for refrigeration. Once everything's refrigerated, we'll be ready. Ta-da!
So,
And Alex is decorating his with a little bit on top.
squirt some over, and ta-da! You can like do a ring or something, or
We've done it with raspberries as well.
a little circle.
You can put any fruit. You can do blueberries or bananas.
All right, Alex, lift one up and show it to us.
This one's kind of like the Leaning Tower of curds.
Let me get a zoom in on that. Aww. How's it taste, babe?
We shall find out.
Can I eat another one?
You sure can.
Hey.
All right, we're gonna finish these up and then get our delicious crepes ready because we want to show you how to fancify those too, right, guys?
Yeah. Ah. Now it's time for the crepes. Ooh. Okay. So,
Sophie's doing the sweet version.
yes.
I've got the savory one.
Of course.
What are you using in the sweet one, Soph?
Strawberries and whipped cream, just like the blinis.
And we got the strawberries ready by cutting them up and adding sugar.
Yep. So just put some strawberries in the middle,
Can't like them in a row.
Yep.
and put a little bit of strawberry juice.
Yeah, when you put the sugar on them, it's called macerating, and that lets the juices come out.
Okay. Then
We add a little bit of whipped cream.
Yeah, you add a bit of whipped cream, of course. As she
Now,
said.
you can make homemade whipped cream, which would be probably even more delicious, but we are not good at making whipped cream, so we just use it from a can.
Then fold it. Then cream.
And again, you could use whatever kind of berries you want for this. But Soph likes strawberries. And then we saved some strawberries when we were preparing for the top.
Yeah.
I don't know what this
You could
ending-
probably add a little bit more whipped cream at
Yep.
the bottom so you can see it better.
And then Alex, let's move over here to Alex.
I've gotten started on this.
I'm going to try mine.
The row of asparagus chopped up in the middle.
Like a taco.
Then we have ham here.
And we just used we just chopped it all up. We got it all ready. We chopped up the asparagus and then I steamed it.
Split around the middle, and then
This cheese sauce is
secrets.
no, it's got Gruyere, shallots. It's just a basic white sauce, but it's super tasty. You could use any kind of cheese sauce that you like.
I'm gonna put a bit more than you probably should because I love this stuff. But
So, how's yours going there?
Good,
Are you inhaling it?
I guess.
let me just wrap this up. Let's try.
I'm going to grab a towel.
So, Alex, do you like asparagus? Do you like ham?
Not big on it.
But you like these. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's kind of like a burrito almost in this sauce. Just they mix together. And,
All right, we're gonna make a couple more of these up, and then we'll show with you everything we did today.
So,
Yep.
from yeast to feast. Let's eat.
Today, during the show, we learned about yeast and all of its properties, and we even made our blini, which have yeast in them. We learned about flipping, and our crepes and our yeast are great for practicing your flipping skills. And you learned how to decorate up some food and make it taste delicious. Now, while Sophie thinks we're all crazy,
And now I go.
we're going to finish up eating our tasty feast, and we hope you guys get in the kitchen together and whip up one of your own. Happy
Happy
family
cooking,
cooking, everyone! We hope you enjoyed the show today. For more information and recipes, please check us out online at www.twokidscooking.com. Thanks for coming and see you next time. Bye!